Welcome to Crimson Clues, the podcast where we peel back the layers on some of the darkest mysteries, most chilling cases, and unsettling truth out there. I'm Andy, your guide through the shadowy stories. Here, we dive into the tale that lingers, haunt, and raise questions we may never truly answer. Each episode, we piece together clues, examine every strange detail, and leave no stone unturned. But beware, not everything we find is easy to understand, and sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. So, if you're ready to go down to this rabbit hole with me, let's just get started. Picture this: it's 2013, and Elisa, a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, decides to take a solo trip to Los Angeles. She's adventurous, courageous, and ready to explore. But what started as a journey of discovery quickly spiraled into a nightmare that leaves us with more questions than answers. Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel, a place notorious for its dark past. Think crime, tragedy, and a history that could fill a horror movie. But she doesn't know any of that yet. She's just excited to experience the vibrant city. Her trip, however, takes a haunting turn when she suddenly disappears. Days goes by, and panic starts to set in. Family and friends are worried, but it's not until a viral video emerges that the world becomes entranced by her story. In this footage, we see her in an elevator. Her behavior is unsettling. She steps in and out, pressing buttons and making strange hand gestures, almost as she's trying to escape something. It's eerie to say the least. Now let me ask you this: have you ever felt like someone was watching you, or that something wasn't quite right? That feeling of unease that creeps in you when you least expect it? That's the vibe we're getting from this video. And as we'll see, it's just the beginning of a very complicated mystery. But it doesn't stop there. Just when you think you have a grip of what happened to Lisa, the story takes another dark turn. Days later, her body is discovered in a water tank on the hotel's roof, raising even more questions. How did she end up there? And more importantly, why? Before we delve deeper into the twists and turns of this chilling case, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that Elisa struggled with mental health issues. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and this is a crucial aspect of her story. It's a reminder that behind the headlines and the mysteries, there are real people with real struggles. So, as we navigate through this tale, let's remember to approach it with empathy and compassion. Before we dive into the events leading up to Elisa Lam's tragic fate, let's take a moment to understand who she was: a vibrant young woman with dreams and inspiration like so many of us. Elisa Lam was born on April 30, 1991, in Vancouver, Canada, to immigrant parents from Hong Kong. She was an intelligent and creative individual, a student at the University of British Columbia, where she was studying English and bonding writing. Friends describe her as kind, compassionate, and quirky, someone who marched to their own drum. She had a unique way of looking at the world, often expressing her thoughts and experiences through her blog. In her online writing, Elisa shared her struggle with mental health, including her battle with bipolar disorder. She wrote candidly about her experiences, reflecting a deep sense of self-awareness and vulnerability. In a blog post, she once described her struggles with depression as the feeling of being trapped within her own mind. It's important to acknowledge this aspect of her life, as it's a significant part of her story and served as a reminder that mental health are complex and can affect anyone. But despite these challenges, Elisa remained hopeful and resilient. She often sought solace in travel, using it as a way to escape the pressure of life. In early 2013, she planned a trip to California, hoping to visit a place like San Diego and Los Angeles, seeking adventures and inspiration. For her, this journey represents a fresh start, a chance to explore new surroundings and find herself. Then, Elisa arrived in Los Angeles. She checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. This hotel, however, was not your typical travel destination. The Cecil, built in the 1920s, has a long and unsettling history, often referred to as a haunted place. Over the decade, it has been associated with numerous tragic events, including suicides, murders, and other crime that have left a dark shadow over its reputation. Many guests at the Cecil Hotel have reported feeling uneasy during their stay, an energy that seemed to linger in the air. It was here, amidst the hotel's darkest history, that Elisa's journey took the shocking turn. During her stay, Elisa was excited to explore the city, documenting her experience on social media and on her blog. She visited various attractions, including the famous Santa Monica Piers and the bustling street of Los Angeles. But behind the cheerful pose, there was a sign that Elisa might be struggling. In her blog, she expressed feeling of isolation and anxiety, even hinting at being overwhelmed by her mental health challenges. As this day passed, friends and family began to worry when they stopped hearing from her. She had always been in touch, and her sudden silence raised alarm. She had planned to check out of the hotel on January 31, 2013, but when the days come, she was nowhere to be found. The situation escalated when hotel staff reported her missing. They searched the premises, but there was no sign of Elisa. In a city as vast and bustling as Los Angeles, it was as if she vanished into the thin air. What makes Elisa's stories even more haunting is the fact that her mental health struggles could have played a significant role in her disappearance. Friends later revealed that she had been dealing with episodes of severe anxiety and depression, sometimes feeling disconnected from the reality. In a series of posts leading up to her trip, she reflected on her struggles and expressed a desire for peace and clarity. It's heartbreaking to think about what she was going through as she navigated her journey. Now that we have a glimpse into who Elisa Lam was, let's turn our attention to the infamous Cecil Hotel, the backdrop of the chilling tale. Buckle up because the story of this hotel is as dark and twisted as any horror movie plot. To be honest, it's very scary. The Cecil Hotel opened its door in 1924, originally designed to be a luxurious destination for travelers visiting Los Angeles. Picture this: grand marble floors, ornate chandeliers, and a rooftop garden overlooking the bustling city. But as the year went by, the hotel's grandeur faded. It quickly became a haven for the downtrodden, the lost, and the desperate. By the 1950s, the Cecil Hotel has transformed into a notorious establishment. It became infamous for its connection to crimes, and its reputation had took a nosedive. One of the most shocking events? The hotel was the last known residence of the serial killer, the Night Stalker. He was known for terrorizing Los Angeles in the mid-1980s, committing a series of brutal murders, sexual assaults, and home invasions. Imagine being a guest at the Cecil during that time, unknowingly sharing the same space as one of the most infamous killers in American history. And it doesn't end there. The hotel has been linked to multiple suicides. Some reports estimate more than a dozen. It's a place where life has ended too soon, often in a tragic and disturbing way. Guests have reportedly jumped from the windows, leaving behind a haunting legacy that lingers in the air. In the late 1990s, the Cecil began to earn a reputation for being a haunted hotel. People claim to hear strange noises at night, footsteps echoing in the hallways, doors slamming shut, and whispers that seem to come from nowhere. Many guests reported feeling of unease, as if they were being watched. It's as though the walls themselves hold the memories of all the pain and suffering that have transpired within them. Now, here's something truly unsettling. The Cecil Hotel was also the inspiration for the American Horror Story Hotel season. Uh, The creator of the show took inspiration from the hotel's dark past, wavering its infamous history into their fiction narrative. But while the show might have entertained, The reality of this hotel history is far more terrifying. Oh, why did Elisa choose the Cecil Hotel for her stay? This hotel, known for its low rates, likely seemed like an affordable option for a young traveler. But what she didn't know was that she was stepping into a place filled with shadows, where the echoes of lost souls seemed to linger in every corner. Elisa checked in on January 26, 2013, excited for her adventures in Los Angeles. She was assigned to a shared dormitory style room on the rooftop. Guests reported that she seemed friendly and engaged, but there were whispers of something more unsettling lurking just beneath the surface. As her stay continues, strange occurrences begin to unfold. Just a few days into her visit, guests started to notice odd things about the elevator. Some reported that it seems to stop on random floors, while others felt as unusual energy surrounding it. Little did they know, this elevator would soon become infamous for capturing the last moment of Elisa Lam. Then come the eerie discovery. On February 19, 2013, after days of searching, a maintenance worker found Elisa's body in one of the hotel's rooftop water tanks. The shocking revelation sent shockwaves through the community and raised even more questions about her death. What led her into the rooftop? How did she get into that tank? And why was no one able to hear her scream? As investigators delved deeper, they unearthed more about the hotel's troubling past, linking Elisa's case to a series of other tragedies that had unfolded within the Cecil's wall. The Cecil Hotel isn't just a setting, it's a character in this tragic narrative, steeped in a history that is both chilling and tragic. As we unravel the layers of Elisa Lam's story, we'll continue to confront the darkness that surrounded the Cecil, a place that has seen both life and death, hope and despair. Like mentioned before, she arrived in Los Angeles on January 26, 2013, and checked into the Cecil Hotel. Initially, she was full of energy, eager to explore the city and documenting her adventure on her blog. But as we know, beneath that vibrant surface, she was grappling with her mental illness. The days that followed her arrival painted a complex picture. She ventured out into the city, visiting iconic spots like the Santa Monica Pier and the Hollywood Walk of Fame. From her social media posts, we can see glimpses of a young woman full of hope and excitement. Yet, there were hints of unease. In her writing, Lisa expressed feeling of anxiety, reflecting a struggle that many can relate to but often goes unseen. After a few days, friends began to grow concerned when they stopped hearing from her. She had always been communicative, and her sudden silence fell off. As we reflected on this, it's crucial to remember how quickly things can change from someone battling mental illness. One moment they can appear fine, and the next they may be spiraling. During her stay at the Cecil, Elisa was placed in a shared dormitory room on the fifth floor. Here, she shared space with other travelers, but her interactions were minimal. Those who encountered her noted that she was friendly yet a bit withdrawn. Some reports suggest that she was experiencing heightened anxiety during her time at the hotel, and it's possible that her mental state contributed to her increasingly erratic behavior. One of the most alarming signs came from the hotel security footage captured on January 31, just days before her disappearance. In this footage, we see Elisa entering the hotel elevator. Her behavior distinctly unusual. She appeared agitated, pressed multiple buttons, and peering out of the elevator as if she was searching for someone or something. The way she moved, glancing over her shoulder, her hand fidgeting, convey a palpable sense of fear and confusion. It's as if the hotel itself is closing in on her. The moments become haunting in retrospect, raising questions about what was going through her mind. Was she feeling trapped? Was she aware of her surroundings? Was she in a state of crisis? As viewers watch this footage, it becomes clear that something was deeply wrong. After this unsettling elevator encounter, Elisa was never seen alive again. When she didn't check out of the hotel as planned, her abuse. One of the most alarming signs came from the hotel security footage captured on January 31, just days before her disappearance. In this footage, we see Elisa entering the hotel elevator, her behavior distinctly unusual. She appeared agitated, pressing multiple buttons and peering out of the elevator as if she was searching for someone or something. The way she moved, glancing over her shoulder, her hand fidgeting, convey a palpable sense of fear and confusion. It is as if the hotel itself is closing in on her. The moments become haunting in retrospect, raising questions about what was going through her mind. Was she feeling trapped? Was she aware of her surrounding? Was she in a state of crisis? As viewers watching this footage, it becomes clear that something was deeply wrong. So after this unsettling elevator encounter, Elisa was never seen alive again. When she didn't check out of the hotel as planned, her absence triggered alarm bells. Staff began searching the premises, but it was as if she had vanished. Elisa's friends and family, deeply worried, reached out to the hotel and local authorities. It was reported that her family hadn't heard from her since she checked in. They were frantic, fearing the worst. Her parents flew from Canada to Los Angeles, desperate to find their daughter, hoping she would turn up safe and sound. Meanwhile, the hotel staff and the LAPD initiated a search, going through the building floor by floor. They asked cast if they had seen her, but no one had. They turned into an agonizing wait filled with dread. On February 19, 2013, after nearly 3 weeks of searching, the unimaginable happened. A maintenance worker at the Cecil Hotel was inspecting the rooftop water tanks when he made a horrifying discovery: Elisa Lam's body floating inside one of the tanks. The sight might have been shocking: a young woman's body, lifeless and alone, surrounded by the very essence of the hotel that had become her last refuge. As the news broke, the reality of her tragic end sent shockwave through the community and sparked a media frenzy. Investigators were left grappling with questions. How did she get into the rooftop? Why was she in the water tank? The police ruled her death as an accidental drowning, but the circumstances surrounding her final days raised more questions than answers. The days that follow, authorities analyzed her behaviors leading up to her death. They interviewed friends, family, and hotel staff, trying to piece together the last moment of her life. The bizarre elevator footage was dissected frame by frame endlessly. While the LAPD initially dismissed any foul play, conspiracy theories began to swirl. Some speculate that Elisa's struggle with mental health may have led her to a state of paranoia, caused her to flee or hide. Others point to the hotel's notorious reputation and its dark history, suggesting a more sinister explanation. What stands out is that Elisa Lam's story is not just about the tragic event of her final days. It's a poignant reminder of the struggles that individuals face behind closed doors, often hidden from the world. As we reflect on Elisa's journey, it's crucial to remember the complexity of mental health and the importance of empathy. Each of us have our own battles, and for Elisa, those battles plays out against the haunting backdrop of the Cecil Hotel, where she sought refuge but ultimately found tragedy. Now, let's shift our focus to one of the most chilling and talked about aspect of Elisa Lam's story, the elevator footage. Captured on January 31, 2013, this footage will soon become infamous, a haunting glimpse into the final moments and a pivotal piece of the puzzle surrounding her tragic fate. The video began with Elisa entering the elevator of the Cecil Hotel, and at first glance, she seemed to be just another hotel guest. But as the footage proceeds, it quickly became clear that something was off. She stepped into the elevator, and instead of pressing a button to select a floor like most people would, she pressed multiple buttons in a rapid section. This seemingly erratic behavior raised eyebrows immediately, as if she was in a rush trying to escape or perhaps even seeking some sort of refuge. But that's just the beginning. After she hits the button, she turns to the elevator doors and waits. But instead of moving, the door remained stubbornly open. For several long moments, she stands there, her body language tense and anxious. It's haunting to watch as she glances around the small, dimly lighted space, looking almost as if she's expecting someone to come in, or maybe even something. Her movements are fidgety, and you can sense the purple anxiety radiating out of her. At one point, she stepped out of the elevator and peers down the hallway, looking both ways, as if she's waiting for someone or something. Then she suddenly stepped back inside the elevator, pressing the buttons again, but this time with a more frantic energy. She even leans against the wall, appearing overwhelmed by whatever is happening in her mind. And as the video continued, Elisa's action became more erratic. She began to gestures with her hand almost as if she's talking to someone who isn't there. This moment is particularly chilling, watching her mimicking a conversation while seemingly isolated in her world, disconnected from reality. Time passes slowly in this footage, and at the time, it feels almost surreal. It's just under 4 minutes long, but every second feels heavy with tension and mystery. The elevator itself almost feels like a character, a claustrophobic space that captures Elisa in a moment of crisis. Finally, after some tense moment, she stepped out of the elevator, but instead of heading toward the lobby or her room, she walks into the hallway, disappearing from view. And just like that, the elevator door closed, leaving viewers with a chilling sense of unease. When authority released this footage after Elisa's body was discovered, it sparked a media frenzy. Everyone was trying to piece together the mystery of her last days. Social media exploded with reaction, conspiracy theories began to circulate, and the video was analyzed in countless forms. Many viewers began to dissect every aspect of her behavior, searching for clues. Some suggested that Elisa might have been under the influence of drugs or experiencing a severe mental health crisis. Others believed she could have been trying to escape someone or something. It's interesting to note how quickly a video like this can morph into something more. For many, the elevator footage became a symbol of deeper issues: mental health struggles, the feeling of isolation, and the haunting shadows that often accompany the battles. One theory suggested that Elisa's behavior was indicative of a manic episode related to her bipolar disorder. Her anxious movement and distress expressions lead some to speculate that she might have been in a heightened state of an awareness or paranoia, something all too well familiar to those who struggle with similar mental health challenges. As more people watched the footage, the rumor escalated. Was there something supernatural at play? Some conspiracy theories suggested the presence or a force or a spiritual haunting the hotel. Others said that Elisa's strange behavior could have been influenced by the hotel's dark past, a culmination of all the tragedy and loss containing within its walls. The footage have been analyzed by expert psychologists and amateur sleuths alike, all searching for meaning. It became a phenomenon, sparkling countless YouTube videos, blog posts, and discussion threads where people dissected every frame. What does it mean when someone appears to be talking to themselves? How does anxiety manifest into someone who is struggling? Despite the theories and speculation, one thing remained clear. The elevator footage of Elisa Lam is haunting. It captures a moment of weakness that resonates with many. It's a reminder that behind every face, there may have been a battle that we cannot see. As he approaches one of the large rooftop water tanks, the scene was anything but ordinary. Peering inside, he saw a lifeless body floating in the water. In that instant, everything changed. The dread of not knowing turned into the reality of lost. The maintenance worker rushed to alert hotel management, who in turn contacted the LAPD. Within moments, the scene will become a crime scene, and the gravity of the situation beginning to sink in. How could a guest have ended up here in such a state without anyone noticing? The discovery sent ripples of shock throughout the hotel and the community. News crews began to swarm the Cecil, eager to capture the unfolding story and share the detail with the world. And as they arrived, the reality began to set in. This was not a missing person case anymore. This was a tragedy. So when authorities arrived on the scene, they quickly confirmed the identity of the body as that of Elisa Lam. The Los Angeles County coroner officers took over the investigation, but already questions began to mount. How did she get in under the rooftop? Why was she in the water tank? And then an autopsy was performed, and while the finding revealed that Elisa had died from accidental drowning, the circumstances surrounding her death remained murky. The coroner noted no sign of trauma or foul play, but the details of her final moment left the investigator and the public baffled. So the autopsy report indicated that Elisa had been in the water tank for several days. The cause of death, described as accidental drowning, raised eyebrows. How could someone who had checked into an hotel with plans and aspiration end up in such a horrific way? As the investigation unfolded, more unsettling details came to light. The water tank itself was located on the roof of the Cecil Hotel, a place that was not easily acceptable. Security footage shows Elisa's behavior erratically just days before her disappearance, but nothing indicated that she had been outside on the rooftop. How did she manage to get there? Was she trying to escape something? Was there a darker presence at play? This question plagued investigators as they pieced together the final days of Elisa Lam. One particularly unsettling aspect was the fact that guests have been unknowingly consuming and bathing in the water from the tank that contained her body. Imagine the horror. The very water that nourishes and cleans people was the same water that held the remains of a young woman. This revelation added an additional layer of tragedy to the story, highlighting the haunting nature of her death and the eerie circumstances surrounding it. In the days following the discovery, social media erupted with theories and speculation. Some believed that Elisa had met with foul play, while others felt her struggle with mental health may have led her to the state of confusion that ultimately resulted in her death. Before we continue and reflect on this heartbreaking moment, it's important to recognize that behind the headlines and theories, there was a family grieving to the loss of their daughter. Elsa's disappearance has already taken a toll on her loved one, but finding her body brought a different kind of anguish, one that no parent should ever have to endure. As the media frenzy continues, Elisa's stories began to take a life on its own. The details of her life, her struggles, and her tragic death captivated audiences, raising awareness about mental health issues and the importance of compassion for those in distress. Her death sparked discussion around mental health awareness, shedding light on the often overlooked struggles that individual faces, sometimes hidden behind a smile. The fascinating with her story speaks volumes about the collective curiosity surrounding mental health and the tragic consequences that can arise when someone feels lost and alone. Remember, in that time, mental health was not really talked about, so that was really nice and important for people to start discussing that. Now that we explore the heartbreaking detail of Elisa Lam's story, it's time to dive into the swirling seas of theories and speculation that emerged following her tragic death. In the age of social media and 24-hour news cycles, Every mysterious case inevitably spawned countless theories, some plausible, some absurd, and Elisa's case was no exception. Theory number one, we have the theory involving the supernatural. The Cecil Hotel dark history includes tales of suicides, murders, and paranormal activity. It's no surprise that some viewers began connecting Elisa's tragic fate with the haunted reputation of the hotel. Some theorists claim she was a victim of the Hotel Cecil's curse, believing that the spirits of the past residents may have played a role in her disappearance. People start sharing stories about other guests who have met tragic ends within those walls. It's as if Elisa's death become a woven into the spawn decades. Those who believed in the supernatural pointed to the eerie timing of her death, arguing that perhaps Elisa's mental health struggles made her particularly vulnerable to otherworldly influence. Theory number two, we cannot overlook the mental health angle. Many viewers felt that Elisa's struggle with mental health issues played a significant role in her behavior, leading up to her death. She was been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was open about her struggles. Some theorists argue that the combination of her mental health challenges and the pressure of being away from home may have contributed to her erratic behavior and eventually demise. In this light, the bizarre elevator footage can be viewed through a different lens. Some believe it shows a woman in distress struggling with her own thought and reality. The theory posits that Elisa may have been experiencing a manic episode or a severe anxiety attack, which could explain her disjoint action and expression in the video. Theory number three, the theory that focuses on the hotel's management and the response to Elisa's disappearance. Many wondered if the hotel has a hand in covering up the events surrounding her death. This theory suggests that the Cecil Hotel, desperate to maintain its reputation and avoid negative publication, may have manipulated the narrative surrounding her disappearance. Supporters of the theory often cite the hotel history of poor management and lack of security measures. How could a young woman go missing without anyone noticing? They argue that the hotel staff may have overlooked critical details or mishandled the investigation. Some even claim that the hotel tried to downplay the situation to avoid a media frenzy, a narrative that some believe continues to this day. As speculation intensified, the internet exploded with theories about the potential involvement of staffs or even guests at the hotel. Could someone have deliberately hidden her or helped facilitate her tragic fate? The lack of clear answer only added to the confusion and led of multiple conspiracy theories that continue to persist. Now, we can't talk about the conspiracy theories without addressing the infamous internet's flaws. As news of Elisa's case spread, amateur detectives began combining through every detail available, analyzing the elevator footage frame by frame, dissecting social media posts, and theorizing about every possible connection. These amateur investigators often took it upon themselves to unearth the hidden truths, sharing their findings in various online forums, YouTube videos, and social media platforms. While this surge of internet brought attention to the case, it also led to some dangerous speculations. Some sleuths began attributing motives and action to Elisa that were purely speculative and unfounded. They often turned her tragic story into a speculative rather than a somber reflection on mental health struggles. In this chaotic landscape of theories and discussion, it's crucial to remember the human element at the center of it all. Elisa was a vibrant young woman with dreams, aspiration, and family that loved her deeply. These wild speculations, while intriguing, often overshadowed the reality of her struggles and the impact of her death on those who knew her and loved her. Okay, as we approach the conclusion of Elisa Lam's tragic story, we must address the case resolution. and the lingering controversies that follow. After the shocking discovery of her body and the autopsy, the official finding painted a grim yet clear picture of her fate, but the questions surrounding her death remained unsolved. The Los Angeles County Coroner reported released shortly after the investigation confirmed that Elisa has died from accidental drowning. The report also noted the presence of bipolar disorder in her medical history, acknowledging the mental health struggles that she had openly faced. However, there was no sign of foul play, and toxicology tests revealed only trace of a prescribed medication. No illicit drugs or alcohol were found in her system. Despite these findings, many remain skeptical. The circumstances leading to her death felt too peculiar to ignore. The fact that Elisa was found in a locked water tank on the roof of the hotel, a place that wasn't easily accessible, left people grappling with unanswered questions. How did she get there? Why was there no evidence of struggle? These uncertainties contributed to the theories that suggest foul play or cover up. The controversy surrounding the investigation intensifies when the hotel management issued a statement after the coroner's finding. They insisted that Elisa's death was a tragic accident, but downplayed the hotel's notorious history. Many felt that this dismissal of the hotel's past was an attempt to distance themselves from the implication of Elisa's death and protect their own reputations. Critics point out that the hotel should have done more to ensure guest safety. Questions arouse about security measures and why Elisa had been able to access the roof. The hotel reputation, already stained by its history of violence and tragedy, took another hit as guests began to share their own frightening experience in the Cecil Hotel. In the week following Elisa's death, the hotel faced significant backlash, practically from online communities, scrutinizing its management and practices. A surge of negative reviews flooded social media platforms, with many sharing their disdain for the hotel and expressing concern for the safety of future guests. As people began to examine the eerie reputation of the Cecil, it was clear that Elisa's tragic fate has sparked a reckoning of sorts. In the midst of this all, Elisa's family, heartbroken and grieving, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel. They alleged that the hotel had a duty to provide a safe environment for its guests and that its negligence contributed to Elisa's death. The suit highlighted the dangerous condition of the water tank, arguing that the hotel's lack of adequate security measures was a factor of her tragic demise. As the legal battle unfolded, the case drew public attention, regaining discussion about mental health awareness and the importance of providing support for those struggling with psychological issues. For Elisa's family, the goal was not just to seeking justice, but also advocating for change. They wanted to shine a light on mental health challenges and ensure that no family had to endure such a heartbreaking loss again. However, the case was ultimately settled out of court in 2014, with the details remaining confidential. This left many feeling unsatisfied as the public never received clear answer regarding the hotel responsibilities or the circumstances surrounding Elisa's death. And as a year have passed, the story of Elisa Lam have continued to capture public interest, leading to various documentary podcasts like this one, an article exploring her life and tragic end. The controversies surrounding her case, coupled with the hotel grim history, have only added to the intrigue. Some claim the Cecil Hotel had become a sort of macabre tourist attraction, drowning in those fascinated by its dark past. In the wake of Elisa's death, conversation around mental health have become more pronounced. Advocates have used her story as a rallying cry, urging society to prioritize mental health, resources, and support system. The tragic event that transpired at the Cecil Hotel have prompted a renewed focus on how mental health issues are perceived and addressed. And despite the case resolution, the question surrounding Elisa Lam's death lingers. Was it truly an accident, or was there more to her story than we will never know? Theories continue to circulate, fueled by curiosity and the desire for closure. The truth remained elusive, wrapped in a haunting legacy of the Cecil Hotel and the life of a young woman who faced her own demons. As we close this chapter of Elisa's stories, it's important to remember that significance of her life. Beyond the tragedy, Elisa was a creative spirit who touched many lives with her passion for writing and her desire to connect with others. Her legacy served as a poignant reminder to prioritize mental health, compassion, and understanding, even in the face of darkness. As we reflect on the tragedy story of Elisa Lam, it's crucial to address the broader implication of her case, especially regarding mental illness and the prevention's role of social media in our lives. Elisa was a young woman battling her mental health challenges, openly discussing her struggles with bipolar disorder. Her story resonates deeply with many who face similar issues, highlighting the critical needs for understanding and support. Yet, in our increasingly digital world, mental health conversation often take a different tone. Social media, for all its benefit, can sometimes amplify feelings of isolating and anxiety. On platforms where comparison is rampant and the pressure to portray a perfect life is overwhelming, individuals grappling with mental health issues may feel even more alone. Elisa's case become a prime example of how someone's struggles can be scrutinized and dissected online, often reducing their complex experience to a mere speculation. The elevator footage of Elisa, with its unsettling portrayal of her erratic behavior, went viral, sparking countless discussion and theories. While many aimed to raise awareness about mental health, others took the opportunity to mock, sensitize, and speculate without understanding the gravity of her situation. This highlights a troubling aspect of our social media culture, the tendency to consume tragic narrative as entertainment rather than recognizing the human suffering behind them. In the wake of Elisa's death, her story have fueled a renewed interest in mental health advocacy. Many have turned to social media to share their own experiences, creating community that prompt openness and support. Yet it is vital to approach this conversation with care and sensitivity. The discussions surrounding mental health should focus on empathy, understanding, and the importance of seeking help rather than voyeurism or speculations. Elisa's case also raising critical questions about the responsibility of those sharing her story. Are we treating her memory with the respect it deserved? Are we using our platform to educate and support each other, or merely to entertain ourselves? As we come to an end of our exploration into the tragic story of Elisa Lam, it's important to take a moment to reflect on the lessons we can learn from her life and ultimately death. Her story is not just a case to be solved or a mystery to be unraveled, it's a poignant reminder of the human experience, the struggles, the vulnerability, and the moment of connection that defined us. Elisa was a vibrant young woman who sought to express herself through her writing and her adventures. She was someone who struggled with mental health issues, yet still she endeavored to find her place in the world. Her journey is a reflection of countless others who navigated the complexity of life while facing their own demons. We must remember that behind every tragic headline is a person with dreams, aspiration, and most importantly, loved ones who are left to grapple with the aftermath of loss. In the wake of Elisa's story, we've seen the power of social media both as a tool for connection and as a platform for scrutiny. It's essential to recognize that while social media can bring people together, it can also amplify isolation and judgment. As we engage in discussion about mental health, let's approach them with the empathy they deserve, Sharing our travel can foster understanding, but we must also ensure that we are not reducing someone's life to a mere speculate for entertainment. Elisa's case has ignited important conversation around mental health awareness and the need for better resources and support system. Many advocates have emerged inspired by her story, calling for change and encouraging individuals to seek help without fear of stigma. This is a crucial step forward, one that honors Elisa's legacy and seeks to create a more compassionate world. As we conclude this episode, let's not forget the importance of kindness, understanding, and the power of our voice. Each of us has a role to play in shaping the narrative surrounding mental health. Whether it's through sharing our own experiences, advocating for change, or simply reaching out to someone who may be struggling, we make a difference. And that's it for today's case. Here on Crimson Clues, we confront the mysteries that doesn't easily go away. Stories that stay with us, make us wonder what else is out there, lurking in the shadows. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe for more cases that keep you up on the edge of your seat. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, sometimes